see. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing. HudcoRoofing.com. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We'll say some good mornings here. Final day for Scone before vacation. Leave tomorrow for vacation. So, we will do morning Scone tomorrow from the house here before we leave. We're leaving probably around 9 a.m. Central. And then a little vacay. And from that point on, we'll be coming to you live from Family Vacay. Y'all will get to see Sophia and Eli and Olivia again.
Oh, you have some helpers for next
You'll have all my helpers. Hey, babe.
I'm going to get dressed. Can you listen around his stomach is like...
Oh, sure. I would love to do that. Do you want to tell your friend on YouTube here or something?
Who, trivia? Trivia. Your hat is in a mailer, and it's coming with me to UPS in about an hour.
What about Kirk?
Kirk, your hat is not in a mailer yet, but it's going to be.
I send you his address.
I know, but it's technically not in the mailer yet.
And we gotta do the penance too, because they sent me their address a long time ago.
Okay, well, you need to get that to me.
Got it.
Okay.
All right, let's say some good mornings here. Mike Bianco.
He's watching?
No?
Oh.
Why would Mike
You
Bianco?
said say some good mornings.
Oh, yeah.
And usually then you say who's watching.
Well, yes, but I was more alluding to the topic of the show today.
Okay.
Is Bianco the target? What?
He's having some stomach issues.
Got it. Stomach issues. Tim Gotro. Hope everything went well with the doctor's appointment yesterday. It did, Tim. Thank you. After a couple of back-to-back concerning appointments, we actually had a really good appointment yesterday. So you're relatively based on all the stuff Drew deals with. By the way, this is not in any way a conceited thing. This is for Drew's birthday party. Eric always gets our family matching shirts. So I had like big deal. Drew had bigger deal. And I forgot what Erica said, but anyway, this is just a sleep shirt. What?
Just a sleep shirt? Wait, can you see this year's shirt?
What is this? Would you please tell them, by the way, that this is just something that you bought last year for like Drew's birthday?
No, it was Father's Day.
Oh, Father's Day. Why did
Yours
he get
says big deal and his says bigger deal.
Why did he get bigger deal on Father's Day? I should have got a bigger deal on Father's Day.
No, because he's a bigger deal than you.
Not on Father's Day.
It doesn't matter. It's just when the shirts were purchased. This year's are cute. And Jennifer always makes fun of them.
Well, a couple years ago, I wore Erica bought me a shirt for Father's Day that said "Rad Dad," and it had like sunglasses, like aviators, and in the lenses it said "Rad Dad."
And Drew said, "My dad is rad."
Oh, my dad is rad.
He has the same shirt.
I think we gave that one away.
And Jennifer always makes fun of
I think that's one that went to Goodwill.
So I can't wait for you to open yours this year.
What does it say?
I can tell you.
I'm a fat loser, and I want my sister-in-law to make fun of me.
Especially if he was like, I gotta get them because we'll be together on Father's Day down so Jennifer can like your shirts.
That's so funny. You're so funny.
I'm thoughtful. How about that?
You're so thoughtful, trying to make me look stupid.
I love it.
Trivia Carter, Stephen Miller, Tad Page, Spurge, what's up? David Wallace, Joey Vincent, Stephen Miller. If no news today, then I won't be upset. But I have a feeling an announcement will be made today. If not today, tomorrow, I think, safe to say. Let's see. Tyler Coleman, Troy Abear, Pat Huseman, Jonathan Martin. Hey, Dad, what's up? Breezy Bro. Tyler Coleman, I'm hoping we get Godwin, but it's looking more like Bianco. Tyler, I've told you. It's not Cliff Godwin. He is off the list. For the bajillionth time, I've told you this. The same issues that caused, I'll say this again for the 8 bajillionth time. The same issues that caused LSU to kind of pause and cool on Kevin O'Sullivan Cliff Godwin has the same thing going on. And if you're not going to walk that road with a guy that's won a national championship and been to Omaha 7 times, you're not going to do it with Cliff Godwin. It's not Cliff Godwin. Jeff Stipe, please tell me it's Dan McDonald. I will 100% guarantee you that it is not Dan McDonald. Dan McDonald is not in contention. And he's not leaving. That's something I've told you for a long time and had confirmed to me yesterday that he is not interested in leaving Louisville. He does not want to be in the SEC. It's not like he craves to be in the SEC. He likes where he is. He likes the city. It's his program, yada, 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 yada. He's been to Omaha 4 times already at Louisville. Like, it's not Dan McDonald. He's not leaving. So I've told you this for a while now. Like, it was going to be one of the 6 names that I gave you. And O'Sullivan was a no. Pat Casey was a no. Dan McDonald is a no. Cliff Godwin, I told you, is off the list. So really, it's Tim Corbin, Mike Bianco. That's what it comes down to. And I've always told you Corbin was going to be a nearly impossible pull. And so it's Bianco. I mean, it's like I tell you all the time, until it's done, like contract signed, dude at the podium, it's never done. But I'm confident in saying Bianco has an offer. I'm confident saying that I'm aware that if Bianco was ever given an offer, he would accept. And I'm confident in saying that from the Ole Miss perspective, if Bianco went to the new athletic director with an offer in hand, the new athletic director would shake his hand and say, "Thank you so much for your years here. We'll see you when we unveil the statue." Like, Ole Miss isn't going to fight to keep him. So I think your new coach is going to be Mike Bianco. And at this point, especially considering the timing and where you are on the calendar. Remember, the draft was moved back to July, but thank you. Oh, you're welcome.
Got picture of them. You're welcome.
Come on.
He found that crying baby again. It's old McDonald. How does he find that?
I don't know.
She's blocked. The user's blocked. Why can you find videos from a blocked user? YouTube. Get YouTube to fix that.
Maybe he's smarter than all of us, and we don't really know it.
Yeah.
Maybe Drew's sitting there just been playing us all this time. Dirk Taylor, Stacy Fontenot, good morning from Texas. Kelly Gross, good morning. Blake Middleton, Dawn Jolibois, Father John, David Mathern. Morning, Scone. Coug sold me on Bianco. Hope we land this plane this week. I'll tell you this about Bianco, and because I will probably be out of town for the introductory press conference. The pushback that fans are going to have on Mike Bianco is obvious. It's 21 years at Ole Miss, and he's been to Omaha 1 time. You just mentioned Dan McDonald, Louisville. Been to Omaha 4 times. And I do hear this argument about resources. Well, you give him the right resources at a place like LSU and, get him over the hump. Okay. Who has more resources? Ole Miss or Coastal Carolina? Who has more resources? Ole Miss or Fresno State? Who has more resources? Ole Miss or Oregon State? Who has more resources? Ole Miss or South Carolina? I think you get the point. Who has more resources? Ole Miss or Rice? I think you get the point. 21 years, man. Your record is what your record says it is. And Mike Bianco is a coach that doesn't have postseason success, period. Like, there's no other way to say it. That's what he is. Can he turn it around with a change of scenery? Maybe. I would love for that to be the case. But for everyone who's skeptical, you are right to be skeptical. Do I think Bianco could come in and get great players and, energize the fan base and tie in LSU's storied past and all. Yes, win a lot of games and yes. Am I convinced Mike Bianco could win a national championship at LSU? No, I'm not. I'm not. Let's see. Brian and Andy Pinton, good morning. Jamie Leday, good morning. Matthew Hyde. Why do I feel like Bianco is the girl you were friends with in high school? The one you said, if you weren't married by 30, we'll marry each other. Kind of feels like it would be settling. That's a great way to put it. John Bro, good morning. On the Bianco train. All right. John's on board. Kirk, we're going to Tennessee. Going to my little nephew Eli is doing the travel ball thing. We always do family vacation. He's playing a tournament up in Pigeon Forge. So I was like, yeah, well, let's go do the family vacation up there. They're going to be up there anyway, so. Let's see. Troy Abear. You say it's really hard to win in June, so why is Bianco not given that leniency? Because people have won in June, Troy. I'm not going to say that it's okay to never win in June, and that's the point that over 21 years, he's never won in June. Or even come close. It's LSU, man. Like, right? I mean, this is LSU. That's what the expectation is and going to be. I mean, yeah, it's hard to win, but that's the expectation. And if you don't win in June around here, you get fired. Let's see. Justin Roll. If Bianco's hired at LSU, Godwin most probably will be the next Ole Miss coach. There's a good chance of that, Justin. I would say there's a good chance of that. There's a good chance of that, yes. Janelle Schmidt Carson, good morning. Henry Gordon Bennett, morning, Matt. I'd like to get your opinion on Alec Box. I thought it was the best in the nation, but this morning, Jordy painted a picture of the box basically being a dump and should be the first order of business for the next coach. Your opinions on the box? So, first of all, I did not hear what Jordy said. The box is most definitely not a dump. They spent nearly $40 million on that stadium 12 years ago. There are chairback seats and suites and amenities and all kind of stuff that the old box didn't have. The old box was a dump. I mean, it had so much charm and we loved it and had great memories, but you literally were peeing in a porta potty and down left in a portable toilet down the left field line. I mean, it was bad. What's happened is, and by the way, it's also really hard to say that if you haven't been to other venues. What you're seeing is places like Swayze and Baumwalker and some of the packed to the gills right now. Because their capacity is greater. And a lot of times they have general admission, like in their outfield, they have a berm, so they try to cram more people in there than at a place like the box where you don't have a general admission portion unless you just stand on the concourse behind those seats. Now, Duty Noble, the renovation they did is the standard in college baseball now. I mean, they're the new, it's like new stadiums in the NFL. I mean, every year someone's building a new stadium and that becomes the new standard. It doesn't mean the one that was built 10 years ago is a dump. It just, there's something newer now. And LSU has continued to improve on their facilities. They have the baseball facility, the weight room, the indoor batting cages, all that stuff. That's behind the right field wall and out there. So the facilities at the box are magnificent, man. It's not a dump. That's not, I mean, again, I didn't hear Jordy's takes. I'm just going based on what you said. But if there were things you were going to do to the box to upgrade, the thing first that I would do is make every seat a chair back. That would have sort of a AA or AAA ballpark feel to it. I'd take out even the bleacher back. I would take those out and I would chair back everything. It might reduce capacity, but in my opinion, that would be worth it if you chair backed everything. I think that's a big part of it. I mean, they just added the new big scoreboard. I do think they need a bigger batter's eye in center. That was an error the day they opened the park that they have improved, but still could be better. Anyway, James Tyrone, good morning. Bill Schmid, Troy Abear, Jeremy Aldridge. So Bianco would be okay coaching Drew at LSU. Is that a factor at all? That's interesting, Jeremy. And, the thing we don't know is if Drew Bianco's coming back next year. The Biancos often said that he was never going to coach his sons in college. He's got another son at ULL. and his youngest just graduated high school, so it's actually a pretty good time in the time of their family to move. Who's going to uproot his family? So let's see. Deborah Coward, good morning. Tony Vaughn, Brandon Atchison. Really not feeling good about Bianco. 3 seasons of the same thing he's done at Ole Miss, and LSU fans won't be happy at all. You know, Brandon, he will be walking into a whoever gets the job. I'm assuming now it is going to be Bianco, and we should hear an announcement soon. I mean, just kind of as a catch-up, there was a flurry last night around 6:30-ish, where I'd kind of had a flurry of people saying, hey, I heard this, could you confirm? And then one was an Ole Miss guy, and then I called some people, and everybody was sort of I had a handful of people basically confirm it all independent of each other. So at this point, I believe Bianco has an offer, be it formal or informal, and I do expect him to accept. Eric Trosclair. Good morning from Golden Meadow. Glad to hear about the good news from the doctor. Thank you, Eric. I think the word you're looking for is "you are right, dear." Father, you and I have never met, clearly. I'm way too stubborn for that. Justin LaGrange, not a fan of T-Bob saying he will pulling for Tennessee in the CWS. Not after the way the fan base acted this year. Yeah, I'm not pulling for Tennessee. I'm pulling for anybody in the SEC. No way. I'd rather Dallas Baptist win it. No, Virginia won yesterday. Virginia's going. I'd rather Virginia win it. Kurt, can't wait to rep the HUDCO at the CWS. Pictures will be delivered. Love it. Are you expecting to have to pause morning scone today asking for a friend? Troy. Good question, Troy. Touche, but not that. I hope not. So for those that don't know, the last 2 times there have been sort of breaking news days around LSU baseball. I've gotten texts during morning scone, so I've had to stop the show in the middle of the show. It was an awful tease, and I apologize, and completely unintentional. Let's see. Merrick Bethurn, Val Browning, Jesse Brown, Kate Genomics. The idea of Bianco makes me sick. Almost don't want to join because I'd rather avoid hearing it. Listen, here's what you're going to get, okay? You are going to get a legion of former LSU players that played with Bianco or played for Bianco stumping for him. They are going to talk about what a great man he is and a great husband and father and tiger and leader of men and all that sort of stuff. And I believe all that to be true. The times that I've met Mike Bianco, he is everything that everybody says. He is someone with class who respects people and is generally liked by everybody. I don't know anyone that said a bad word about it. I mean, there are a bajillion reasons to love Mike Bianco. The man, the former LSU Tiger, all that good stuff. The reality is the one strike against him is a massive strike, though. It's that in 21 years, he just hasn't had postseason success. Hey, come see. Come see. Drip. Huh? All right. Shout out to Brock, y'all. Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. You need an orthopedist? You go to Brock's. That's what you're doing, of course. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Steven, before you go deep on vacation, do you have a pick for Omaha? Oof. Boy, Texas looks really good, don't they? Give me okay, I'm going to go in your championship series. I'm going to go Texas and Vanderbilt. That's going to be your championship series, Texas and Vanderbilt. And give me Vanderbilt to win the national championship. How about that? There's your pick. Jason Mobile, random question. Where'd you get that Apple Watch band? I'm digging it, bro. E-Rock got these online. And they come in multiple colors. The worst part about the Apple Watch is that it's dainty. And so if you're someone who's big or has a big wrist, having like the little bitty watch band doesn't really look great. So she got, there's a gray and there's like a navy blue that I wear. So Jason, shoot Erica a message. She could on Facebook. She'll send you the link. Because I don't know where it is. I just asked her to get it. She's the master at finding stuff like that online. She's really good at that. Morning, Matt. Has to be the most content you've ever had in June. Oh, content you've ever had in June. Seems like so much going on. I don't know, Eric. Though I tell you, in 2011, the year when LSU did not make postseason playing baseball, as awful as that was the year of conference expansion, if you remember. It didn't take effect until 2012, but that's whenever every day it was, is Texas going to the Pac-12? Is Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC? Well, like that was where is all of college football being flipped on its head, and every day it was something new. That one was significant for sure. Jude Sonier, advocate said Bianco and Godwin are the top candidates, and it's not going to be Godwin. I understand why they have to print Godwin, but it's not going to be Godwin. I'll add this. Was anyone jumping up and down except when they hired Maneri? That worked out pretty well. Steven, can we agree, though, it's a little bit different? It's a lot different. Because Paul had been to Omaha. He had led 3 programs already. And you were at a time where Smoke had gutted the program. And I know people say, well, they went to Omaha twice. He skated through to Omaha on the talent on a roster that was already there. He stopped recruiting, and it was obvious the well went dry. And maybe the awareness of Maneri wasn't as great at the time. But it was also Skip making the hire. And I think people would trust Skip, and you could say, well, he hired Smoke, and you're right about that. Just very different 15 years removed, and having had 1 title in that time. I understand your point. It is also very different. Let's see. Was that a Scone Cold lock with the Vandy pick? No, Merrick, not a Scone Cold lock. Steven asked for a pick, so I gave you a pick. Dave Vendur. When I was with the Scorpion program, before Cliff was the head coach, he would attend all our tryouts. His passion for teaching the game is beyond description. That's fine, Dave. And it's not a baseball thing with Cliff. I'm telling you, there are personality things there reasons for which he won't be considered. Troy Bear, can you tell us the issues with Godwin and Sully instead of having to do the research? I'm lazy. Nope. Brandon DeVille, if it is Bianco, it doesn't feel like a Woodward hire. That's true, Brandon, but listen, Woodward's MO is go after the biggest name possible and throw him a ton of money and make him say yes. And they try to do that with O'Sullivan, and they had it lined up, and it dissolved for one reason, which maybe at some point we'll talk about publicly, but and at that point they had to pivot, and they were so far down the road with O'Sullivan that it was really hard to pivot, and so they had some very obvious fallbacks, and Godwin initially was that, but there's some issues with Godwin, like I've talked about, which essentially X'd him off the list, and so the safe hire became Bianco. They tried to go swing for the fence again with Pat Casey. A guy who won 3 national championships, and obviously the reaction to that wasn't great. So it's where you are. And you could throw out names like Eric Bakich, or Brian O'Connor's another name that I'm surprised didn't get more run. He's a Minary guy who's won a championship and going back to Omaha this year, Virginia. But that you could throw out names, keep throwing out names, but it's just a lot of guys that weren't really considered. Charlie Cavell, good morning. Tony Vaughn, why didn't LSU go after Jim Schlossnagle? So good question, Tony. I'll tell you this. Jim was not on the list initially. And Jim having roots or ties to Louisiana, it was expressed to me that Jim would have crawled. I had people calling me on Jim Schlossnagle's behalf, as if I had something to do with the search. But Jim Schlossnagle never got a formal call from LSU until everything fell apart with O'Sullivan. And last Tuesday, they reached out for the first time, and he had already taken the A&M job. That's the danger with waiting. That's why timing matters. Richard Bruce, if Godwin is off the list, why did the trio in the Advocate just write an article saying it's Godwin or Bianco? I don't know. I don't write for the Advocate. Earl Lytle, good morning. Kelly Presley, good morning. Kirk Taylor, somewhere Shelby is crying about Bianco becoming the head coach. LSU Terrell Wild, good morning. Bubba Tatum, morning Sconers. Headed to NOLA to say goodbye to my grandmother. Oh, hug your loved ones. Sorry to hear that, Bubba. Very sorry to hear that, man. Condolences to you and your family, man. Hope y'all have a great celebration of her life. John L. Carson, I trust Woodward. I'm getting a little worried about this hire. Is there no one else out there? I guess you could go. Like I just said, you can go kick tires. You can go try to make a run at Eric Bakich at Michigan, or go to a lot of different places. But do you feel like that's a better option than the guy that you're about to hire? Justin LaGrange, Scone, Coog actually played for Bianco. Let's listen to the guys who actually played for him. Might know a little more than you. So, Justin, that is an awful lazy take, because those guys are also biased because they played for him and are friends with him. Understand, you can like someone personally, but after 21 years, your record is what it is. So you can throw out that BS jab, the old... Then I tell you what, Justin, here's a great idea. Get out of here. Leave. Because why would you care about anything I have to say if that's your impression? Just go listen to people that played for certain people. But the reality is, and you know this about me because you've been here long enough, I'm never going to BS you. And I've said this over and over and over again, could Mike Bianco win? Sure. Sure he could. Is it also a very fair assessment to say you have been a head coach for 21 years at a program that has had talent and had resource and had fan support, and you've been to Omaha one time when you've been a national seed and you've been a host site and your MO is that you lose in the postseason? Yes, that is Mike Bianco's MO. And if you can't see that the guys who are stumping for him are all guys that played for and with him and are his friends, then you are blind, brother. Because that's what that is. That's what that is. It's why 80% of the fan base is saying, I don't like this. And only the 20% diehard Sunshine Pumpers like you and the people that played with and for him are the ones that are propping this up. It's not an impressive hire at all. It's not. I hope like hell he wins. I'm sure that he can win, but it is not impressive. When you wait 15 years and you have the carrot dangled of guys that have won national championships and built super successful programs, and then what you lean on now or lean into is he's one of us. It ain't gonna cut it, bro. Craig Duncan, well, the only one I'm convinced who can come win a national title is Corbin. Anyone else I'm not confident. Troy Bear Morgan, what's your thoughts on Coogan saying Morgan moves to center? I think there's validity to that. Here's the deal. Trey Morgan is not going to play first base in professional baseball, period. An athletic guy like that, they don't play first base. So he's going to play a different position when he gets to pro ball. So it would behoove him to move there now. And if that also makes you better defensively in the outfield and puts another bat in the lineup at first, makes sense. I mean, I don't know anything, but that makes sense. Let's see. Ryan Dixon, I'm okay with Bianco because if we do not grab him now, we will make things worse by thinking we can grab someone else, and we end up with Turtle Thomas. Janet, who's covering AFR on vacation. Hanny is not. I asked. He is not. He's got. He officially starts his gig with Match Point. So Wednesday is Jumbo. We don't have this Thursday covered yet. I think it might be Musso. He might have to not do Mario and Musso and do AFR instead. Friday is Terrio. Monday, I forget all who's when. Brian Holland from Local 33 is doing a day. Jacques Doucet is doing a day. Ron Higgins is doing a day. Anthony Renato is going to do a day. And then next Friday is Terry's. Terry's got to give himself some co-host, bro. I've asked him a million times who you want to work with, and he gives me no answer. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Do it yourself. Kenneth Westbrook, good morning. Brian Wynn, co-chief North Dallas Baptist. It's funny, Brian, literally nobody mentioned him or even knew his name until they just punched their ticket to Omaha. Or they didn't make it, obviously they lost. But that's the only reason everybody even is aware of him now. Canizaro's not coming for sure. Blake Dean is not. Blake Dean is correct. Blake Dean is not the front runner, no. Cody Newsome, this feels somewhat like the Johnny Jones hire. It is. It's a Johnny Jones hire. That's what it is. Barry Day, good morning. Richie Mercer. Scott Woodward hires Mulkey because he wants the best women's coach available. It settles for Mike Bianco. Ridiculous. I mean, Richie, the thing is he went after Kevin O'Sullivan. And they had the deal done, and it's whatever. So I wish y'all knew how... If you really knew how coaching searches happen and how they go down and the factors at play and the hurdles you have to clear, it would boggle your mind. Because I think in many instances when all you see is the periphery, you think it's as simple as making a phone call, making a financial offer. Someone sees the dollars and comes. It's never that cut and dried, ever. Anyway. Is it wrong to pull for Vanderbilt? Yes. Craig Dugas, only be satisfied with the hire if the coach never gets interviewed, is considered to be one of us, is a good guy, and this is his dream job. You said it, not me. There's going to be wailing and gnashing of teeth in Baton Rouge. From some, yes. You mean Arkansas isn't going to win? Hey, Kenneth, I'll tell you this much, man. I have said this all year about Arkansas. I actually had an interaction with John Neighbors on Twitter. I went back and referenced it. John Neighbors, who does radio up in Arkansas. I said, man, I don't think y'all have the pitching to win in Omaha. Now, I thought they'd get there, but they had Wicklander, and obviously Kops was magnificent. But that's a team that could not play through a loser's bracket. They would have to sweep through the tournament to win it. They just didn't have the starting pitching, man. There is no reason LSU should have taken a game from Arkansas. None. That Arkansas team, the team that won game one at Super Regional 21-2, whatever it was, there is no reason that they should have dropped a game to LSU. And when they did, it was ooh. Because it just goes to show you, man, if a guy like Mikhail Hilliard gets hot, ties up their hitters for a game, they're screwed. Because they don't have another pitcher after Wicklander and Kops that could go get it done. And it's a bummer for them, man. Great season. It ends before you even get to Omaha. Whew. Dylan Landry, good morning. Richard Bruce, OTB said Bianco's recruiting class is down in the 20s. Is that due to Bianco not being a good recruiter, good prospects, doesn't want to go to Ole Miss? Richard, candidly, I can't tell you a ton about Ole Miss recruiting. What I do know is that at Ole Miss, the cost of tuition is higher. So the pull there well, two things. Number one, you've got obviously two teams in state. You've got Mississippi State and Ole Miss. And tuition at Ole Miss is higher than Mississippi State. So when you're pulling kids that are going to have to pay tuition because you only get 11.7, it can be a harder pull to Ole Miss. That said, they've had plenty of talent there to win. Is the watch from Rhino Bands? I really don't know, and it doesn't say on this. Erica, where did you get my watch band? People are asking. The Apple Watch band?
Oh, Amazon?
But what was the company?
Oh, I don't know. $20. I could send you the, I can show you one.
There's people asking on the chat. Sure. How much of a percentage are you sure Bianco will be named the head coach? Kirk. 91.637%. Keith Artist, we all kind of knew it'd be Bianco from the start. I mean, come on. No, Keith, you're actually wrong. You're dead wrong. When I tell you they first made contact with Kevin O'Sullivan about 8 weeks ago, informally. And they had terms of the contract agreed upon. He had already started calling potential assistants. Like, I know this firsthand. Hi, Drew. I'm going to go find a period. T-Engine band compatible with Apple Watch. That's it. The T-Engine band. T-Engine band. And they went hard after O'Sullivan. And throughout the process, as they got closer to finality, some things popped up about O'Sullivan. LSU cooled on him. They still try to make a splash. They want to try to get Pat Casey. They made him an offer. Pat Casey leaked the offer to judge the reaction. It wasn't good, so he said, I'm good. So LSU was basically stuck with several other options. Dan McDonald, who is not leaving Louisville. Tim Corbin, who was always going to be a tough pull, and I don't think he's leaving Vanderbilt. And then Mike Bianco. So, that's where you are. It was not always going to be this way. It was the default. As always, shout out to Brock, y'all. Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic and Hudco Roofing. You need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. You need a roof, you go to Hudco. Look up on that roof, see them water spots. I tell y'all, man, don't let them get water spots in your house. Call Hudco Roofing. All right, let's see, where are we? Let's see, Eric, I know you like the O'Sullivan coach pitchers, which freed up a better assistant coach shuffling. Does Bianco do the same? His area of focus is working with pitchers, yeah, but he's still going to have a pitching coach. What you can't do is have an on-field coach be your recruiting coordinator if that's the case. That was the problem that Paul had. He had to have or then your volunteer assistant is your hitting coach, like at LSU. That was a problem. Bob Poole, you completely against an up-and-coming unproven coach. You're bringing up Paul, but Paul had already been to Omaha, and like that matters. I'm not saying that you have to have won a national championship, but the reality here's what you weigh, right? With Bianco, you have a large enough sample size to know that he struggles in the postseason. If you went for a younger coach who's had some success at a smaller program, you could say, well, give that guy the resources of an LSU, and he could get it over the hump, right? That's what you weigh. That's the way. So sometimes it's sort of, you'd rather the guy who hasn't finished the test as opposed to the guy who hasn't been graded and it's safe, but it's never going to be like the home run. The politics behind Bianco is maddening. Every single local show is basically shilled for him. I honestly don't know who is shield for him. That's Cageonomics. I really don't know. Like, I think I say this, and sometimes I know this might be hard to understand. Like, I really don't listen to other shows or watch other shows. I mean, I spend my time doing this. I spend my time creating. I don't really care what other people have to say. And I know that sounds super conceited, but let me explain. Like, it's not that I'm saying other people's opinion doesn't have merit. Like, I'm not saying that in any way. Of course it does. I'm just saying I don't care what their opinion is. Like, their opinion isn't going to influence me at all. I have no desire to go seek out someone else's opinion. Like, my job is to give my opinion. So I don't need to be influenced by anyone else. I'm just going to tell you what I think. So so I don't know. I wake up in the morning, I work out, I get Drew ready, I do morning scone. I go to work, I go to studio, and I record Locked on LSU. Then I start prepping, I do AFR. I come home and I hang out with Drew and sometimes do nightcap and other stuff and rinse repeat. Like, I just don't spend my time consuming other people's content. So I really don't know what other people are saying. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or not. Shit, I don't even care. It's just what I do what I do, and some people like it. And if they don't, that's fine. And if one day, I've said this a bajillion times, if one day I wake up and nobody wants to listen to my show anymore and I suck, I'll go do something else. I'm good. Anyway. What part of the companion show did Coogan talk about Bianco? Merrick, it was after Ole Miss had the big inning, maybe during the big inning, which lasted like an hour. But I don't remember. Ryan Dunn asking about Vitello not being considered. I think he's going to re-up in Tennessee. And also, quite honestly, I think he's just a jackass and nobody wants to deal with him. That seems to be the general consensus everywhere. And then people are like, well, Nick Saban's a jackass. And Nick Saban's also the greatest coach ever. So when you win at a great level, high level, you'll put it. Kevin O'Sullivan is a jackass, but he's been Omaha 7 times. Like, is that a Bud Light bottle? No, this is a Brock water bottle. So I worked out, and this is like my post-workout recovery thing, whatever. Could Ken Azaire be brought in as an assistant? No. Joe Pa, what's up, man? Does Drew Bianco enter the portal? That's a great question, Joe Pa. I don't know, man. I would actually really, and go to Ole Miss, oh God. I'd like to see Drew back for another year, man. I don't know that his starting spot would be guaranteed based on who might be coming in, but he certainly stepped up over the last 6 weeks of the season. You realize going into that Ole Miss series, he was hitting 171 and it struck out in roughly 50% of his at-bats. And he finished the season 246. I mean, credit to that kid. He found a confident stroke and actually performed really well down the stretch. Good for him. Does Big Ben get the pitching coach job? I don't think Ben McDonald wants to be the pitching coach. I think Ben McDonald is quite content to do TV and to hunt and fish and watch his kids play and not be on the road recruiting and on bus trips to Starkville. I think he's quite content. Wrap in batches. Blake Robinson, what's up? Trivia sounds like Pat Casey screwed us leaking the offer. I think Pat Casey wants to get back into coaching, and never wanted to leave Oregon State. But the reason he did is because of all the off the field stuff with Luke Heimlich, and he admitted as much. But I don't think he wanted to step back into that hornet's nest. So. Cameron Kemp, what's your thoughts on Kendall Rogers and the Advocate saying Godwin is still under consideration? I flatly disagree with him. I don't know why they are. I don't write for the Advocate, and my guess is that's a hedge. In the same way that I told y'all a week and a half ago that Dan McDonald would be on the list, that was a hedge. Just in case, in the off chance that it might happen, even though it's a microscopic percentage. Like, Dan McDonald was never happening because he's not leaving Louisville. And LSU ain't walking that path with Cliff Godwin, y'all. I'm telling you. Blake Robinson. Clemson beats themselves up for letting Corbin get away after he spent 16 years there as an assistant waiting. If Bianco is the hire, I totally regret the majority of us who are completely against the idea of Kevin O'Sullivan. If you were against the idea of Kevin O'Sullivan, you're just dumb. I mean, do you realize 7 trips to Omaha in 14 years, a national title and a national runner-up, knows the SEC, dominant recruiter, actually recruits his ass off, great pitching coach, manages staffs, like, he is the guy. Like, it's incredible that anybody would have been opposed to that. Colton Mack, are we going to be able to win the CWS with Milazzo batting? That's so stupid. Some people are so stupid. With all due respect, Colton. Okay, so I'll answer your question. Yes, because if you actually do spend time watching baseball, catchers that hit are an outlier. The position is very physically demanding, and most catchers don't hit. Would you like your catcher hitting above 200? Yes. But that's just the nature of it. It's like Dennis Rodman in basketball. They never expected Rodman to score. It was, hey, go be a dominant rebounder and defender. Go frustrate the other team's best scorer and get 15 rebounds a night. Okay. And that guy helps you win. I'm sorry, Colton. I didn't mean to be too rude about that. I thought you were trolling because I've gotten that question a bunch. So my apologies to you, Colton. Milazzo is defensively elite. As anybody who's ever been on it, that's a pitcher, and they will tell you, guys, he's in my lineup every day. There's a reason why Greg Maddux got to pick his catcher for his entire career. Having an elite catcher that can frame pitches, that can block balls in the dirt. They give you the confidence as a pitcher to throw the 58-foot breaking ball because you know it's not going to the backstop. A guy that can control the opponent's running game. Do you realize Alex Milazzo threw out 14 of 26 would-be base stealers? Better than 50%. That doesn't happen. Like, it's insane. I literally had a guy who's been a Major League Scout for 30 years tell me that guy, if he can just hit over 200, will spend 15 years in professional baseball. I don't know nothing, no. All right. Troy, Matt, appreciate you taking the time to answer all of our questions. For sure, Troy, I appreciate y'all for watching, man. If y'all didn't watch, I wouldn't be here, so it's all good, man. Canizaro's making 125 at Holy Cross as a baseball coach. That's a lot for high school. That is. But if you want to be a college coach, then you make the leap, you know. I hear you. Bart St. Germain, who will wear number 8 next year? I don't know. And honestly, man, I don't really care about jersey numbers. I don't care about 8 or 18 or 7 or any of that. So I don't. Bart, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be dismissive. I honestly don't know. I want a coach that will make the box great again. Is Dunn staying, do you think? No. I think this entire staff will be replaced. Nolan may have a chance to stay on staff because of his ties with LSU and he recruits, depending on who the new coach is. But Eddie Smith is already gone. Maneri's obviously out, and Alan Dunn will be retained. John Sanders, good morning. Kirk, who's the captain of the red, white, and blue softball game? I don't know yet, man. Jock and I haven't talked about it much. LSU Terrell Wow, you the man, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Craig Duncan, if you're going to hire a coach merely and only if they want a national title, well, that list will be extremely short. You got to hire a coach on, yes, being a winner, but also how he fits at LSU. I think it's a slam dunk. I think change of scenery will do him good as well. Craig, I'm not saying that winning a national title is the only criteria, but you have to have a coach that's proven he can be competitive and win in June. And there are others who have shown they are capable and are taking that step, and you could argue that with the right resources, they could make that step. The flip side of it with Bianco is because you have such a large sample size, you also know that part of his MO is he doesn't win in June. Like, his teams have been favorites. They've been home regionals and super regionals, national seeds, and they've lost. I mean, that's a big part of his MO, and that's why you get a lot of pushback on it. Sometimes it's better if you like the less you know sort of thing about him. So there's still some intrigue. Like when you've been at a place for 21 years, kind of are what you are, you know. Kirk, if LSU doesn't make it back to Omaha and win it all in the next 2 years, he's starting to shell. He's gonna be, he's gone, and I'm gonna be the maddest LSU fan on the planet. The roster is stacked the next 2 years. Brian Trurard, Bianco hire would just be lazy. Do you think LSU will add seats to the box to reclaim the attendance title from fake Mississippi State fans? Well, the interesting thing, Brian, about this year is that, and you got to remember this, that goes on like tickets sold. And Mississippi State has always been able to fit more fans in Duty Noble because they have larger general seating areas. But LSU still always wins the attendance because it's on tickets sold. So even if like on a Tuesday night against McNeese, there's 3,000 people there, they sold 10,000 tickets for it. You know what I mean? So that's the real number that you look at there. This year was different, obviously, because not everybody was playing at the same capacity for the majority of the season. You know, I mean, if you have 10% or 20%, whatever it was capacity, you know, it wasn't open to 100% capacity all year. Can we at least get the bullpens off the field? God, I would love to. And replace the hefty bag that serves as a batter's eye. Brian, you're right about it. We talked about that a little bit ago. You're right. Colton, I watch all the time. Matt, I can't believe I haven't heard your spiel about Milazzo, and I made myself look silly. It's Colton. You're not. I thought you were trolling me. That's all. It's okay. It's really, really, really okay. Because I do get asked about that a lot. I had a buddy text me yesterday. Actually, it was I don't want to tell you who it was, but it's someone you've heard on my show before that is not a baseball person. Who was basically crushing Milazzo for not being able to hit. I'm like just literally think about this. Think about how many great offensive catchers there have been in the history of Major League Baseball. There just aren't many. Like guys that are great defensive players that also hit. It's just not like, it's why someone like Mike Piazza is in the Hall of Fame, because it's really rare to be an elite defensive catcher and hit 300 homers in your career. You know what I mean? It's a rarity, man. Okay. I got to go. It's almost 9 o'clock. I got to go. All right. Locked on LSU coming up in a little bit, y'all. Locked on LSU, and then, of course, AFR 3. So we will see you for that. Hey. There's no reason to yell. Anyway, I said GD, sorry. I'm not sorry. I curse all the time. Okay, y'all have an awesome day. As always, shout out to Brock, Founders Orthopedic Clinic, and HUDCO Roofing. Hey, great. Hey, loud.
Forgot how comfortable they were.
Y'all have an awesome day. Peace.